back in the room.
Back in the room. So, yeah, Martin, I had a visit from my priest, the local priest. I say because he's not only the local priest, he also happens to be my landlord.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Given the fact that I actually rent my house directly from the Vatican Church.
You know what?
Right?
You know, I mean, like how like steps of Kevin Bacon. You know, like so you're renting from a priest.
Yes.
Then there's the Vatican. Then there's God.
Yes.
Right. So there was a very short link between God, the house of God, and then your house.
Yes. And my body.
Right, man.
Right.
I think you are gonna have to push your back even more. I'm just.
Oh, really? Okay. Pushing it back.
At my
pushing back.
levels here.
Oh, right. Okay. Like, yeah. Usually it's flatline. I always wondered if it's flatline.
Yeah. Now it's like super loud.
Wow. Okay. I've got a dial.
Oh, for God's sake, turn it down.
I don't know which way though.
You'll probably
1, 2,
turn it
3.
Anti-clockwise.
1, 2, 3. I think that's better. That's it. Yeah, yeah, that's better. I think that's better.
Right.
So yeah.
Crack on.
Okay, technical glitch. So he knocked on the door, and I looked down from my studio, which is right here. Looked down, and he's looking up, and he said, "Oh," I said, "Hello, is Mina there?" And I said, "Oh, she's not. She's out." But I said, "Hang on, I'll come down." So I was going down the stairs thinking, "Oh, he's asking for rent, or he's gonna tell us that we're gonna have to increase your rent."
Mm-hmm.
Or something like that. Like, oh God, Anyway, no, It turns out he's just collecting. But in his collection, he wanted to bless the house.
Oh, come on!
He wanted to bless the house. So picture this, Martin. There I am. He said, "Well, how about we do it in here? We're in the kitchen, me and the priest, right?"
Right.
And
yeah.
He's like splashing his little thing around the thing, and he said, "Oh, let's do a little prayer, shall we?"
Okay.
Right.
How much is this costing me?
Right. Well, that's the point, isn't it? It's always, it's like the travelling salesman. She says, "So, are you Catholic?" I said, "No, actually, I'm Protestant. Protestant? I'm prostate. I'm prostate. I'm Protestant.
I'm a prostitute.
I'm Protestant."
Right.
And I said, "Actually, even my surname denotes me as Protestant." He said, "How's that?" I said, "Well, the P in Thompson apparently appears during the reign of King Henry VIII, when he wanted to divorce his wife, Anne Boleyn, and the Vatican told him he couldn't divorce her. So he said, well, bugger you, I'm going to create my own church," and he called it the Church of England. He's the head of the church. So from that point on, because before him, Thompson was without the P. So I said, even my surname. But I said, I'm not religious. At which point we started talking about the saint in waiting that lived behind me, Stefana.
Right.
Beata Stefana Quinsani.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Oh yeah, because I said to him, you probably know the story about her pulling her hair out." He said, "He didn't know. He didn't know about her pulling out her hair." But then he sniggered. He said, "Well, she was pretty ugly."
Oh, come on.
Apparently, she was quite ugly. Apparently, she pulled out her hair. As the story goes, everyone said, "Oh, yeah, facially she was quite ugly, but she had beautiful hair." So her response was, "Well, bugger you!" And she literally pulled her hair out with her own mittens, her own hands. He didn't know that story, and I said, "So apparently she's waiting to be a saint because she performed a miracle."
Oh.
Which is apparently what you have to become a saint. You have to prove that you performed a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which it's probably why I haven't become a saint yet, because I haven't been able to prove anything. Right.
You know what? Yeah.
And so he doesn't know what miracle she performed. So I'm,
Oh, come on.
right. You'd think that'd be the minimum, wouldn't you?
You'd think
Minimum.
that would be the right, because in my head, right, he's coming around to your gaff, he's going around
Yeah.
everyone's houses. He's,
Yeah.
I don't know, he's, maybe he's a little bit short on cash, so he's
He
just kind
was.
of doing the rounds, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, right, well, if you can make the saint, if you can make a saint in your village,
Yeah.
that's going to be a BFD, right? That's going to be a big
Right.
fucking deal. People are going to
Yeah.
come from miles around.
Yeah.
He can set up his own gift shop.
Yeah, well, they do come from miles around. If her effigy, there's actually is behind me. There's an effigy of this Stefana, Queen Sun.
Yeah.
There's an effigy behind this wall. If her eyes started bleeding,
Right.
then it would be a disaster, because either our rent would go up or we would get thrown out of our house.
Oh,
because
right.
they would start having like hundreds of thousands of people visiting and selling accessories, souvenirs. Right.
Tea towels.
It'd be a nightmare if her effigy starts, her eyes start bleeding. It's bad news, or from her palms.
Because I was thinking, obviously, going to the butcher's, getting like a pork chop, getting some little bit of blood, going around there just with a little teat pipette, just getting a little bit of get a bit of blood running down her cheek.
Yeah,
and
right. Sell some sandwiches.
They're just waiting.
Right, sell sandwiches.
Right,
but that's what they did throughout Europe. Like, I don't know if you know that, like there's the pilgrimage in northern Spain to San Sebastiano. It's like thousands and thousands of tourists go there every year because they do a pilgrimage. And it's all because someone like 400 years ago faked some blood on the effigy of the Madonna, and now everyone goes. It's like their way of like guaranteeing tourism.
Right. I'm surprised that the priest that your priest hasn't kind of been a little bit more proactive.
Exactly.
More proactive in
entrepreneurial.
Entrepreneurial. That's what's lacking in the priesthood these days.
That's what's that. Exactly.
And with that, welcome to ADHDville.
Yes, right. Oh, dear. Anyway, he left pretty quickly when he realised I was Protestant. He wasn't going to get any donations.
No.
So he showed a clean pair of heels.
That's funny. All right, so don't forget to like and subscribe.
Yes. Comment.
All right.
Alrighty.
Paulio.
So, hello, I'm Paul Thompson. I was diagnosed with the combined ADH and the D almost a year ago.
Blimey, you're like blowing the speakers out. It's ridiculous.
I don't know what's going on. I'm playing with the dials.
It is like...
I'm playing with the dials.
Where your mic goes in, there is probably like a dial right next to where the mic is, where the mic input goes. No.
Yeah.
On the other end.
Yeah. Let's try and take it back here a bit. How's that? Is that better? I don't know. I mean,
not really.
I'm just twiddling dials. Usually it's flatline. Now it's going freaking mental.
I know. I know it's crazy. All right. Cracking on.
Okay.
My name is Martin West. What is it? Yes, it is. It is. At least that's what it says on my birth certificate. So I'm Martin West, and I was diagnosed with the combined ADHD poo-poo platter in 2013.
2013. Yes. So we're here as two mates. We're just here as two mates who by coincidence or not, after 39 years of friendship, discovered that we're co-ADHDers, Martin. It's really important to say that this is an entertainment podcast about adult ADHD and does not substitute for individualized advice, Martin, from qualified health professionals. So don't take any advice from us. We're just here as a kind of all-inclusive ADHD park bench. with room for everyone, including your doppelgangers, your alter egos, your buddy doubles, your chaperones, and even your best buddies. Still here? Congratulations. Good
Yep.
stay in action. Then grab your jetpacks, pedalos, space hoppers, or any other transportation methods, and let us take you to ADHDville, an imaginary town that we've created in our minds, where we like to explore different parts, different parts of the A, the D, the H, and the D.
Fuck, it's so shambolic today. We are so shambolic. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
I can't just be calm. It's got something to do with ADHD. I can't be calm and read something out. Somebody wants to read it like I'm Dill the dog. On if you're English, you might know what Dill the dog is.
I know what you mean. And anyway, as we start, see, even I've caught the shambolic bug.
Yeah.
Anyway, we start off as always here in the town hall in the mayor's office, where we, the joint mayors of ADHDville, take care of business. And I'm just looking at my notes, and we have two things. We are going to talk about shame spirals and how to get out of. And we have a quiz, apparently, in part 2. So I love me a good quiz. All right, where shall we go, Mr. Thompsione?
I think we're going to go to the police station. We're going to the cop shop.
Yeah, because where else is there? That's where all the shame is, right?
Yeah, we could have gone to the confessionals. The confessional, be on theme with our priest. Go to confessional, confess our shame.
Yeah,
but I'm not Catholic. I guess you. Right. What are you, Martin?
I'm atheist.
Yeah, I am actually. But yeah, okay.
All right, let's jump in the car and let's go.
Sounds a little bit of the Hill Street Blues signature going on.
You say that every time.
Oh, I love Hill Street Blues. The intro theme.
All right, so let's start off with what is a spiral? What is a shame spiral?
Right.
And what it is, I guess, is it's a cycle of negative self-talk and emotions triggered by feelings of guilt, embarrassment, or inadequacy. So, and if you have ADHD, they are quite common with us, right? And it's mainly due to these repeated experiences where we ourselves are like, forget stuff, or we procrastinate, or we screw things up, or we underperform, and then you kind of get this feeling of shame that
repeated, and therefore after a bit, when you're old geezers like me and Martin, not only is there like it develops into a pattern, and you start recognizing, this is like uneasy pattern that develops after a while.
Yeah, and this shame kind of comes from, it starts off, I think, with other people telling you, right, what are you doing? You're late.
Martin, you're an arsehole. Not only that, there's a pattern of you being an arsehole.
Right. Yes.
I've not had that. I've not had anyone saying, Paul, have you just hang on a minute. Did you realise there's a pattern? No one's told me that.
Right. But I think that you kind of internalize that pattern, or you see it in yourself.
Yes.
It's like,
totally.
God, I'm always late. Jesus, what? And then you start to feel like you're a. I think you feel like it's a character flaw, right? Like, what's wrong with me? And then you kind of spiral down into shame. And the problem is that it gets ingrained in your bones. And on a day-to-day basis or a week-to-week basis, you can find yourself, something can trigger that shame spiral. You can start spinning down it, and then it takes you a while to kind of get out of that, and then that screws up your day.
Even like if in one shame could be related to relationships, right? It's a common theme amongst ADHDers, isn't it? And it even
Yeah.
gets to the point like, oh, you finished diabolically one relationship. You think, God, do I want to start another one and have another diabolical finish to another situation? You know,
Yeah. Yeah. I know. I'm just trying to think of some of the sort of shame spirals that I get. I think that they end up being. I think there's kind of. I find that there's two camps. So, for example, if I can think about right, so I didn't do my taxes for a couple of
okay,
years, right? So I would feel shame around that task,
mm,
and then I would think, oh, I can't do the taxes, and I'll go down a shame spiral, and then I would just not do the next year's taxes, and then I'd feel even worse.
yeah,
So now I'm 2 years down,
yeah,
and then I come to 3, and now I feel worse about that. So I'm now spiraling even further down.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
so there's that bucket of things that I shame spiral about, but then there's the other one which is more about the kind of me as a person. Like
yeah, yeah.
I'm always late, or why am I?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I screw up so much?
Yeah.
So there's that kind of there's
Mm.
one around tasks and things, and then there's one
Yeah.
around about personality and
I've
your own
got
self
just a
image.
bit personal. I've got like it's like for me it's like my personal life, yeah, but also like how that impacts on how it's impacted me professionally and also as a family member as well. There's a hell like shame in family situations like Jesus,
Right.
you know. Oh my God,
Yeah,
yeah,
because I think that's where you first get it from. I
right,
think probably that
yeah,
and school.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you a like an easy. I've got it written down. One example here of that. It's like when my mum died. It's like almost exactly 24 years ago. This week, actually, my mum passed away, and it was like a hideous moment when you had to decide. Well, my dad was deciding like and just financially as well about how much she's going to pay for her headstone and her coffin and actually how big they were going to dig or how much they had to compensate when they were putting my mum under the ground, whether other family members might be joining her. And I just didn't want any part of that conversation. It was just like, my mum's just died, and it was just so
Right.
crass, and just vulgar. I just hated the whole thing. And I said, I don't want to be buried. I want to be cremated.
All right.
But other members of the family said that they said, yeah, we want to be buried next to mum, and my father as well, but next to his wife, my mum. And I said, I don't want to. I didn't say that. I said, no, sorry, I'm really happy just being cremated. I didn't want to be any part of it. But the point being, I could tell both of them were looking. My sister and my dad were looking at me like, "Oh, you're just being an asshole, right?"
Right.
And my conscience was always clear on it, but I always felt shame about it. That
Right.
situation,
Looking back.
yeah. But then so many choices, it's like if I'm confronted with I think in that instance like a choice that I don't really want to be part of. Um, I think, here we go. I'm going to feel like an alien again.
Mm-hmm.
Just go, okay, let's tick those boxes again. Okay,
Right.
let's do it. Let's do that thing.
Oh boy. Yeah. No. I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah. It's so hard to think of like off the top of my head shame spirals because I almost feel like my ability to step into and fall down into a shame spiral is like easy. Like,
Yeah,
like I think of while I was walking the dog this morning, I was thinking of that Beatles films, a yellow submarine.
yeah,
That kind of like that psychedelic 60s
Mm-hmm.
cartoon. I think I haven't seen it for decades, but I think there's a scene where there's just holes everywhere and they keep
Uh-huh.
falling down them, and I kind of feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's me. Like
Right.
like on any given day, I can fall down a small shame spiral like 20
Okay.
times a day,
Right.
easily.
And they're always well
Yeah.
greased.
Oh yeah. It's like, oh god, yeah, here we go. I've fallen that, you know,
You don't
every
even have to ask for the lube.
yeah.
Someone's already put it there. Put it there for you.
Yeah,
All right.
it's. I have plenty of very well used shame spirals that are
Yeah.
just like, oh, here we go again. Down this one we go. All right, off we go. Because
Yeah.
because
I I
go on.
use mine the thing that I came up with, and it's some years ago now. Even before I had the ADHD diagnosis, I call it like the a pinball. Like the pinball machines. And I've just felt like for years just being like the metal ball, that just gets bounced around, and I have no control over it at all. It's like my instinct for like behaving differently from everyone else is stronger than me. It's like,
Yeah,
okay, here we go. And it's bouncing
yeah,
around.
yeah. I know, I know.
And
It's
then
also
being like
like
the other shame is like the shit that you leave in your wake, that you have to clean up afterwards, like a
right.
rowdy party. And it's
Oh,
like,
blimey.
yeah,
You're right. I was thinking about the divorces
yeah.
and 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 all the other kinds of questionable
Oh,
behaviour that
yeah,
you kind of go that you look back on
yeah,
with some shame.
yeah. No, I mean rowdy
Um,
parties in yeah, conceptualizing it. Like you just like clean up after, like as you say, after a messy divorce or a
right.
messy relationship. Um, burning bridges in my work environment. Yeah,
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. There's it's. I mean, like because you tend to like look at other people and go, well, they don't appear to be doing any shame spiraling. Like they just seem to be just
yeah.
doing their shopping and getting on with things, and
Hmm.
you think, Jesus Christ, like why am I sort of falling
Well,
down these fucking spirals every
I
five
think
minutes?
I think they have as much shame as I think neuro beige people have as much shame as we do. They're
You're a
just
beige.
less sensitive to it than we are. We're more sensitive to it. We think about it more. You
Right.
know.
Well, I think it's because it's mostly just going on in our own heads, and I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on in everyone else's heads, and I automatically assume that they're all having lovely lives
Right.
somehow,
Right.
and
Well, I
and I'm the
get
only one
pissed
who
off with
isn't.
yeah. I get pissed off with people that don't have shame. I mean, they act like complete arseholes. It's probably one of the most frustrating things for me in terms of like if I whether it's a friend or family member or a colleague, and they behave badly and they have no shame whatsoever. That really triggers me. That sets me off. Like, what the fuck? You know?
It, it's
That really pisses me
narcissist.
off. Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I mean, narcissist is someone who has no shame,
No,
right?
no, no. Oh, we love a narcissist on this
No,
show.
we do. We do. They're like, they're, narcissists are like our unofficial kind of mascots, you know?
No, they
They're
are
not.
no
But
mascot
we put
of
pins,
mine. They're
effigies.
like
We
they're
put
like a
pins in them.
a voodoo doll.
A voodoo doll. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I was little, I was trying to think of an example, Martin, of when I was little
Yes,
and
Paul.
what did shame look like, right? I had shame because I was really my friends' mothers always said that I was really fussy with food.
All right.
And so it was always, I knew that I sometimes didn't get invited for tea or for lunch because I was too much of a fussy eater. And it's like, and I had so much shame about that. So much shame. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
Now I realise I wasn't fussy at all. I was just particular. I like, You know, in the 70s and 80s, the amount of shit that was put on your table that you're supposed to eat, you know.
Are you sure? Because that just sounds like autism to me.
Oh, oh, that's possible.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Also, because I have a thing with like ketchup, and I hated anything that was like oozy.
Okay,
I don't mean the gun oozy. I mean, you know, like oozing, like liquid,
right,
saucy kind of stuff.
right.
Yeah.
So you didn't like ketchup
No.
because I remember when we first met. So we first met back in art college, right? When we were, I was like
Yeah. Read about
18,
1985. About
18, and you were
85.
16, and I can remember distinctly
Oof.
sitting there doing some work. I remember, like,
Yeah.
I was pointing this way. You were in the desk next to me, but behind me,
Oh
kind of
God.
thing.
Right.
And
Okay.
you were telling me how you'd never had pizza in your life,
Right. Yes.
and I was shocked.
Shocked.
Shocked did I was
Shocked.
shocked that
Shocked.
you never had pizza.
Yeah.
Now
Well,
thinking back, it makes sense. It makes sense
yeah. I had a
now.
problem with all kinds of things. I had problems with mushrooms. I had all kinds of things that would link to. Well, I mean, I think I had, now looking back. I had some kind of eating disorder when I was a kid. I was very skinny. I don't know what it wasn't bulimia, but what's the other one? I can't remember. But I definitely had an eating disorder.
I think it sounds like you had a very restricted diet, right? You only liked certain things. Like
Yeah, no,
you.
yeah, no, it's associated. It's a bit of a difficult story that I would like to
All right.
tell, but I can't.
Okay. All right.
Basically, a trauma. There was trauma related around the whole food eating thing at
Okay.
home. A lot of
Well,
trauma. So I
watch
avoided eating to avoid the trauma,
watch
but it
this
just made the
space.
trauma worse. Yeah.
Right. Well, let's get
Yeah, so
back.
like, it was psychological, totally psychological, just trauma related. Yeah, yeah.
All right. So
So,
actually, it's quite interesting. Like when you were saying this, is that your earliest shame spiral that comes to
that
your
I
mind? Like,
first one, yeah, I think so. I think so.
because I was thinking, oh, this is an interesting question, because I was trying to think of what my first the shame spiral that I can remember,
Hmm.
and I think it was around stammering
Hmm.
or stuttering, as it's known in the US. So I've stuttered
Okay.
all my life, um, and that's probably the first thing that I felt shame around.
Mm.
That I
Hmm.
can think back on. And I didn't even really, interestingly, I didn't really think of it as a shame thing until my mother sent me to a speech therapist.
Hmm.
I went, oh, hang on a second. There's clearly something's wrong here. I'm having to get
Uh-huh.
I'm having to
Yeah,
get
yeah,
sorted out for something. Whereas I don't
yeah.
think I remember being particularly. I it almost feels like that was the first time that I was actually it was brought to my consciousness.
Right. Well, I was sent to Great Ormond Street because I was so underweight. I was sent for tests, like pretty horrendous tests as well at Great Ormond Street. I had to stay the night as well, and there's a lot
Serious.
of shame around that. I hated that. I hated it.
Oh
Um,
right.
yeah, because
Yeah,
they
yeah.
thought I had a physiological problem, but no bugger. Even at Great Ormond Street, it's supposed to be one of the best children's hospitals in the world, they did nothing. They just said, "Oh no, there's nothing wrong with him physically. Go, all right, on your way." Sent me
All
back.
right.
Sent me back home. That was it.
Yeah, that sounds like the 70s.
Yep.
Um. All right. Well, I've got kind of like. Do we have any more stories before we kind of get into like ways that I feel that will help get out of a shame
Oh,
spiral?
good question. What have I got here? there's a big one actually. Is I'm not going to necessarily don't necessarily need to give examples of it, but for me, it was like the biggest shame was actually towards myself of just
Okay.
being a freaking people pleaser for so much of my life, and the shame of like there's so many people. I can't remember who said it, but someone's once said the only regret I have in life is I should have told so many more people to just go and fuck themselves.
Mhm.
So, which I can really relate to, because I think the greatest shame I had was self shame that I should have been more authentic, right,
Right.
towards myself, and listened, respected my own needs better than I did. So
Right.
ultimately, that was my biggest shame, I think, in the end.
Yeah. Yeah. I can relate. I can relate. I'm with you on that one. Um. Yeah. Because it's I mean, like that guilt shame. That like that just feels like like if you have a backpack and you're just carrying around all these stones, these
Hmm.
rocks in it, and that's what it feels like to me. Is like
Yeah,
I'm just
yeah,
carrying around all these rocks, and it just weighs me down,
yeah,
and you know, and, ugh, and then I just fall down these holes even harder. Um,
yeah, yeah.
all right. So some things because we have a quiz. I feel like we
Yes.
can. I need to squeeze in a good quiz. So, what can we do? What can we do? Right. So,
Yeah.
one thing is awareness and identification. So it's like if you can recognize that you're having a going down a shame spiral, so you can recognize those voices in your head kind of
Mm.
going, oh, why am I always doing this? Why I just feel like crap, and then actually just telling yourself, well, a that this is a shame spiral, that what
Hmm.
you're, and just I identify what you're feeling
Hmm.
at
Yeah.
in that moment. um you know are they, because it isn't about trying to deny you have emotions. It's
No.
just about trying to name them and try to put some perspective on it.
Yeah. Well, just thinking like, how could you have dealt with it better? I don't think we probably could have avoided a lot of the issues, but we certainly could have dealt with them better, or just made better choices.
Right,
Like maybe
because
it's the best way to avoid shame in relationships is maybe to be more careful about the people you share your life with.
true. Yeah,
You know,
remind
if they're
yourself.
insensitive, how many people have, oh, well, in my case, I've had relationships in my past that where my partners have been completely bloody insensitive to anything other than, kind of a very vanilla way of looking at things.
Right. So so it is about reminding yourself that everyone makes mistakes,
Yeah.
especially if you have ADHD, and ADHD is not a moral failing, so it's not a
Mm.
character failing. Um, there's um, also, that word failing, right?
Hmm.
It's it's such a bad word to use with yourself. It's actually better,
Yeah.
like, so replacing like I'm a failure with I'm struggling with
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
or I'm trying to learn this, or like
Hmm.
I'm finding this thing difficult,
Mm.
rather than
Well,
placing that moral failing.
yeah, yeah.
I've got to let my dog out, so you
Oh,
might just
okay.
like chat for like 10 seconds.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or sing. I'm just a poor boy in a poor family. Scaramouche, can you do the fandango? Da, 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 da. I can never remember the
Yeah.
lyrics. After fandango, I'm lost. Okay.
Oh,
Um, yeah, I was reading a thing by, I don't know whether this is a British thing or, because there's a lot of culture related to like the definition of shame. But Alain de Botton, who's a psychologist, he said something really cool about relationships. He said we get so bloody caught up in the concept of failure in relationships when things don't turn out how you want them to. But he said But why do we always have to give it that tag? Sometimes just things just don't work out how we would like them to. That doesn't make it a failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
I really thought that was a really cool thing to say.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, you know, when it comes to like shame spirals around tasks and stuff, so it might be that, you know, say the laundry is piling up and, you know, the house is
Right.
looking a mess and you feel like you're shame spiraling, you know, is just to do the most simplest, easiest, lowest hanging fruit thing that you can.
Yeah.
Like I saw, like, there was someone was saying about how they have this huge pile of laundry
Hmm.
in a laundry basket, and they were finding it difficult to kind of put it
Hmm.
away.
Yeah.
I was just kind of like, all you have to do is just find one sock. You don't even have to find a pair. Just rummage
Yeah.
around and find one sock, because as soon as you do something
Hmm.
like a little mini step
Yeah.
forward, then your brain will go, oh,
Hmm.
let's find a matching sock, and then okay, well,
Hmm.
let's, you know, and then you can start to dig in and
Yeah.
kind of dig
I
yourself out.
find when any kind of situation, and even that one, if you could start to make it come from a place of self-care, it's already a much better starting point. You know, there's no one to blame, right? There's no,
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be like any finger pointing or you know, chastising yourself. Just come from a place of care. It's like, okay, if I pick up my socks, I'm just going to feel a little bit better about myself.
Yeah, no,
You know, just
prioritizing.
start from that. Start from a really like simple base.
Right, so prioritizing your rest,
Yeah,
and maybe and getting out and sort of doing some movement,
brushing your teeth.
or doing something creative or something, um,
Yeah,
just to kind of like put yourself back in, right, because it's that, yeah. I mean, I was going
I
to
had
do
a
that
shower
whole,
this morning because I was like, oh, I haven't had a shower for 2 days, and I didn't stink. I'm lucky. I'm not a stinky person. Um,
you don't sweat like Prince Andrew, is that, is that
exactly, exactly. Well, I didn't fight in the Falklands. Luckily, I didn't have any PTSD.
right?
Um,
Okay.
so yes, but even if I sweat, it's not smelly sweat. I'm lucky. But I'm kind of quite philosophical about showers. I don't think we should be obsessed with having a shower every day necessarily. But it does get to a point like, oh, you know, well, it's like a little bit stinky. Have a
Yeah.
shower, you feel better about yourself.
All right. Yeah. So there you go.
There you go.
They are, yeah, yeah. You know what? You know, I was just thinking about these well lubed
Yes,
shame spirals that I go down.
right.
I was thinking, okay,
Are you
yeah,
fixating, mating, on the looped tunnels?
yeah, I'm there.
Okay,
I'm just all about it right now. And I'm thinking I should name them, right. I should go. Oh, it's that spiral. It's
right.
the it's the it's the Larry
Ah, okay,
laundry spiral. And can go, okay, right.
okay.
Well, that takes the sting out of it. So if I call it the Larry laundry spiral,
Right. Yeah.
I kind of think, all right, well, you know,
Make friends with it.
Larry, okay,
Make
it's
friends with
fine.
it. Yeah.
Larry, you know, he's there, fine. Yeah. So actually, what I'm doing then is like taking the shame off of me and putting it onto this guy called Larry,
Yeah.
and
What
he can have it. He
what did
can
he
deal
ever
with
do
it.
to you? Poor Larry. Well, Larry's a bit of a 70s name. I don't think anyone's called Larry anymore. Comment.
Lounge
Anyway,
lizard
if
Larry,
anyone
Larry
wants
the
to leave a
lounge lizard.
comment, if anyone wants to
Yeah,
leave a comment, they just like had a newborn son yesterday. They called it Larry. That would be a
Larry
shock.
Larry Hagman, who was
Larry
the
Hagman.
he was the actor in a Dallas, right?
Yeah.
Who was the actor was J.R. Ewing,
Yeah. Huh?
who shot J.R.
Or for our English audience, Larry Grayson.
Larry Grayson. Yep. Yep. All right. Perfect. All right. Well,
Right?
with those two crazy
Bombshells.
comical references, let's jump
Yes.
back in the car. We'll go back to
Yes.
the mayor's office, and
Enough
we'll
of the
get this,
shame. Enough of the shame. I'm done with the shame.
and we'll cleanse ourselves with
Yes.
this quiz.
Exactly. Are we taking Larry with us back in the car now? Let's
Okay.
leave him. No, fuck him. All right.
All right. Well, we're back
Okay.
in the
All right.
mayor's office, and
Hello.
hi.
We've got a quiz, Martin.
I love this. A quick content warning. So, the quiz coming up has some kind of surgery and downstairs bum stuff. So, if that's going to ruin your day, then eject now. Eject while you can.
We've got a quiz. It's quite a well-defined quiz. It's about King
course, why
Louis the
not?
14th. Yes. It's got some very interesting surgical history, Martin. Larry the 14th. What a minute. No,
Larry.
Louis the 14th. Louis the 14th. It's got some very specific, very interesting surgical history. Has our Louis? Okay, so let's start.
Yeah.
Let's start off, Mike. Okay, let's start. We're going to start off on quite an easy one, just to ease you in,
Yeah.
right?
Jesus.
Easing you in
All right.
with the lube again. So during Louis XIV's reign, he granted licenses other than to surgeons to perform surgery. Okay, and he gave the licenses to one of these professions. Okay, so other than surgeons, one of these professions could also officially perform surgery. One, butchers.
Makes a state. Okay. Yeah. Me.
Two, tailors.
Sewing up stuff. All right.
Three,
of course,
barbers.
Such a classic.
Or four, Martin, and the last one, bakers.
Well, I would have to go barbers, obviously.
Butchers, tailors, barbers,
I would
or
have
bakers.
to go barbers because that's the classic.
Why?
Because barbers also used to do all kinds of stuff. So not just cutting your hair, but they would do minor surgery as well. No, I'm not interested because I know that barbers was part of their role. So I'm sticking to barbers.
Oh, okay. Well, can I offer you the visual element? You imagine a butcher with a cleaver performing surgery. Does that not help you persuade you?
It's a little bit ham-fisted. Like, sure, if I wanted my arm off, fine, maybe I'll go there.
All right. Oh, fuck you. Yeah, it's barbers. It's barbers. It's barbers.
Yeah.
It's barbers. They're literally called surgeon barbers.
That is well.
Okay, so you got the first one right, Martin.
That
Hurrah!
was quite straightforward.
Okay, this is when it gets a bit. Okay, so I kind of eased you in. Okay, so we're going to talk specifically about one of Louis XIV's persistent complaints.
It's going to be sexual,
right?
Yes,
anal fistula. He had a bit of a problem, Martin. Ongoing problem with an anal fistula, singular. Okay, but Martin, with two T's.
Yeah.
How long did it grow? How long did it grow to after several attempts to remove it? 1, 2 fingers long. Fistula, 2 fingers long. 2, 3 fingers long. 3, 4 fingers long. Or 4, 5 fingers long.
You see, whenever you get a quantity question, usually it is always the biggest or the longest is
right. Excellent logic.
Is always the answer. So I'm obviously going number 4. Like Jesus, it's almost like a foot.